A lot of you guys are having more sex thinking it will solve your sex problems, but the sex that you're having is not very great. So the more you have that kind of sex, it's only amplifying the problems. It's possibly even disconnecting you more from your woman or from your own body. If you're struggling with performance anxiety or just challenges staying hard or pleasuring her, she's getting frustrated after, you're amplifying that when you continue having this kind of sex. You have to understand the root cause. Often the root cause is there's a disconnect between you and your woman and you're unable to talk about sex. So therefore, when you're having it, you're not trying new things. You're not able to even make like deep eye contact with her or genuinely feel connected to her because there's this tension in the room and you guys aren't comfortable conversing around it. So it's kind of like, oh boy, like here we are. You're in straight up performance mode. So you need to talk about it. You need to talk about it in a way that actually helps you guys. Because what often happens is when you're in this place where you're kind of avoiding sex, but you know you should have it, so you still have it, and then you try to have it as much as you can, thinking that's going to be good. It's just, you're missing out on what makes sex great, which is the playfulness, the exploring and trying new things, the feeling super connected to your person, and pleasure, of course. So how much pleasure can there be if there's crippling anxiety or if you have no idea what really turns her on? You don't even know if she's getting to the point of an orgasm. Like, how pleasurable can that really be? Because I'm telling you, like, orgasms alone are not enough to make sex worth having. I can tell you that because I've been in a relationship where I orgasmed every time I had sex with my ex, and we had it often, and I can tell you right now, like, it was terrible. And those orgasms were pleasurable physically, but would I ever want that again? No. Would I say that the sex was great? No. It takes talking about this and just being upfront from this place of not getting defensive and just being ready to basically collect data. You know, like, ask her, what are you most turned on by? And like, what gets you turned on? I don't really know. I haven't asked you in a long time. And then you ask her, and my boyfriend is dancing, trying to distract me. Stop it. Stop it. Man. I was doing so good. And I still am. You know, you ask her what gets her really into it. And if she gives you those answers, that's such a great thing. You know, you don't have to feel shitty that you didn't know. Like, feel great because now you have some guidance, you have some answers. And it could simply be like, okay, well, you could share your turn on with her and say, I love when you whisper this in my ear when we're having sex, and tell her exactly what it is. And then ask her, what's your favorite thing? Or what has worked for us in the past that maybe we stopped doing? Or what is it we want to try next time that could maybe help, like bringing a position in that could work or has worked before and felt really good. If that feels too much right now for your relationship, asking the question, what makes you feel most connected to me as your husband? And then just let her tell you, because that gives you information. And you guys should never just know this, okay? You know because you're informed. You know because you talk with her. You don't just know because she's having an orgasm, right? Because we know that's not reliable, like I just said. So get comfortable just talking about it. And something that can help you get comfortable talking about it is you learning more about your own body. Because if you were to masturbate in a way where you learn something different about what gets you turned on, like let's just say, for example, a type of touch, right? Maybe there's a squeeze that you like. Maybe there's light scratching. Maybe there's cupping the top of your, right? Like small movements that maybe you're like, oh, I can ask her if she'll do this. And then you have something to talk about. You have something to share. You have something you're confident in. So whatever it is, even if it's one thing, the speed, the pressure, whatever, mental turn on, something she can do to help you stay aroused, it will show you and the shame that you've been dealing with that it's no longer in the control seat. Like show shame who's boss and do that by speaking up and just sharing what you have to share. And that will give her more permission and more confidence to share also. And that gets you guys talking even just a little bit more. And that will help the kind of sex that you have, because now you're open and you're able to talk about more. So next time you have sex, you'll be more likely to be like, ooh, I liked when that happened and that was good, but like we could still work on this. And that's another thing to think about, is like, you want to make sure that whenever you're talking about sex, it's not always about problems. A lot of you career-driven men especially will focus so much on problems, and when things are good or even great, you won't really acknowledge them, because it's almost like, oh, that's how it should be. So then you don't converse and you don't acknowledge, and then there's never any focus on what's working. And then every time you talk about sex, you know it's going to be a drag, because every time you guys talk about it, it's about, oh, this problem, oh, I'm frustrated, oh, this isn't working. So who's going to want to talk about that? Like, neither of you are going to want to talk about sex, and you'll even have this embodiment of anxiety and avoidance, because it's like, fuck that conversation, that doesn't feel good. So start creating conversations that actually feel good, because that's what sex is supposed to be. Something that feels good, right? Something that connects you in a way that's positive and intimate. And it's okay to share what's not working, that's very important, but you also want to point out when things do work. And you want to share that together and be like, oh man, you know what turned me on so much last time we had sex? When you did this. And you say it specifically. And then you can even ask her, like, what was the most recent thing that turned you on? Then you're collecting information. So you're learning about each other. And now sex isn't that scary of a topic. So you end up having sex again. And then there's less of a pressure energy, right? There's maybe more of a playful energy, because maybe since you're talking more together in an intimate way, you may be more inclined to slap her butt during the day. You may be more inclined to give her a really long hug and tell her you love her, because there's no longer this avoidance of physical contact or connection. You're starting to open up. So that is when having more sex is helpful to the relationship, is you're starting to talk, you're starting to also point out what is working, you're asking each other what you'd like to try or different things you can do, and then you're implementing on that. And whatever happens, like, trust yourself that you'll be able to handle it. That way you go in with this mindset of like, okay, we're gonna try what we talked about, or I'm gonna keep this one thing in mind, and then when you go through with that, because you know that answer is legit, you're going to feel more calm, and the sex will in fact be better, even if it's 1% better. Okay? That's great. Just don't have the same sex over and over that you know is not great, and you just think having more of it will solve the problem. And I really just want you to believe, guys, that this is possible for you. I know at first it feels a little awkward talking about sex when you never talk about it, but if you can start talking about it, even from a new angle, because maybe some of you are like, I tried talking about it. Did you try talking about it from a place that is not defensive? Did you think of talking about it from a place that is warm, that is focused on, like, let's do this together. Let's try. I was thinking we could try this together. Because that's an entirely different mindset and vibe than we have to talk about our sex life. And we need to fix this. And if you want help with this and you want a personalized plan, then let me help you. I have a program called the 1% Man Program. If you're interested, just go to the description of this video. I'd love to see if we're a good fit to work together. And that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.